What's up guys, I'm here to do the latest review of the latest chapter of Bleach, and let's just get into it. I'm just going to throw out the typical stuff, I'm assuming you've read it, so spoiler alerts, as well as I'm assuming, yeah, I think that's all I say. Anyhow, quite a chapter. Hitsuyaga, I believe his name is back on the field at the end of this chapter, and it's quite amazing. I mean, if you recall, he lost his Bankai, so now he's pretty much on the field training to sort of just fight them off as a standard swordsman. No doubt he's going to pull out some amazing basic sword style techniques. However, he has lost his Bankai. More importantly, I was very surprised that the sort of break they also took was so short. I thought it'd be like a, who knows, 4 or 5 month break, and that wasn't the case. So we're back on with Bleach, and yeah, the next interesting thing is the sort of shadow thing going on, where they sort of live in the shadows. So I believe how it works is that they just live in like a parallel universe where it's like infinite shadows, and then whenever they want to come out, they sort of just move to the real world, or the Soul Society world, or human world, through the shadows, and wherever there's a shadow they can just sort of appear out of, as sort of noted and explained by the captain. I forgot his name, but the guy with the black mask, the scary scientist dude, and he pretty much has it all figured out, which is quite amazing, and that's why he didn't let a single shadow penetrate his laboratory. And so I have high expectations for him. He seems like a very smart dude. So I actually believe this guy's going to actually own a lot of these Quincy, because he's come out with this sort of new ridiculously OP looking suit. So he's obviously going to do some damage. And then we go back to the next interesting point, which is the first page, I believe. You see a very vague silhouette of Ichigo and his swords, and I got reminded again what the swords look like, which reminded me that at the time I thought, and I still think, that these swords are pretty much, they're not complete yet. They're simply like the skeletons. They're simply cast iron versions of the final product, and we can't tell what Ichigo's doing, but I believe, and this is my prediction based on what I see there, he's sort of forging his swords, maybe sort of creating stronger sort of material to cover them, or maybe ornate them so that they come out looking something new. Because if you look at a lot of swords or zanpakuto, a lot of them are usually very decorated, not just these cast iron sort of skeleton versions of themselves. So it's very unique. He is not obviously the first person with a duo zanpakuto, but it does fit him well, and I truly believe that my prediction is that this is going to be something where both swords are dramatically different from each other. Cast iron wise, so far they look fairly similar, but different in certain ways. But once they're completed, they will look completely different and function differently, because they do in fact sort of represent like the different sides of him, the Quincy and the Shinigami side. There's so many terms you have to remember, and so I'm quite surprised that this sort of ambush took place so quickly. I think that was the whole sort of deal regarding this. This ambush sort of came unprecedented before they thought it would happen. And so it looks, I don't know if this is like the actual final fight. I don't think it is, but at the same time it seems that way, because one of the commanders of the Stern Riders pretty much said, we're going to eliminate everyone here and now. So I believe what's happening is they're going to try this out. If it doesn't work, then there will be a final official battle, which I believe the commander of the Stern Riders had actually warned them when they would come, and this was not the time when they would come. So I believe maybe the Stern Riders are overconfident, and so far, judging from this chapter, they seem to have a huge advantage, and they're justified in being so overconfident. But it seems like they're just like, let's just wipe these people out, and that's why they're doing this ambush really quickly. And so yeah, a lot of interesting stuff, but at the same time, obviously they're still saving a lot of the stronger characters. Ichigo, all the people who are training Ichigo now are probably all on a different level, as well as obviously I forgot his name, Zuraki Kenpachi, something like that. I believe he will be one of the strongest next to Ichigo. He's probably my favorite character, even higher than Ichigo right now, because I mean his power limit is infinite. And here's a guy who doesn't have Bankai. He doesn't have all these techniques. He's simply a dude just by raw strength, who's sort of been stuck at the same power level for thousands of years, because again, a little refresher, since his childhood he could never find someone stronger than him, and he beat everyone, and every time his expectations were sort of not met, and so he was disappointed, so he cuts himself off and unconsciously limited his power level. So now that he has finally sort of healed that over, he has a lot of catching up to do, you could say, in a way. And so finally there are foes that may be stronger than him, that have beaten him. As we just saw, he was just owned by not even the commander of the Stern Riders, but a copy, one of the captains who could sort of copy the commander's abilities. So he has plenty of people now that are stronger than him, and I feel like he's always sort of reminded me of sort of Broly from Dragon Ball Z. Broly in Dragon Ball Z, again, a little spoiler alert, but Broly was someone who he was just so strong just by raw power. The moment he was born, he was ridiculously strong, and he could morph into Super Saiyan, but his power was just so intense that it was uncontrollable, and to the point of insanity. And so I liken him to Broly in certain ways, but not in others, as in the fact that he's not insane, he can control his power level, and he has infinite potential, and may one day surpass Ichigo, while at the same time retaining his sanity and just sort of doing it by just raw strength. And who's to know what sort of potential he's capable of if he does in fact sort of learn Bankai and all this other stuff. But I feel like it's a long journey for him, because remember, this was hundreds of chapters ago, the first encounter we had with him, he sort of lost Ichigo, and then he turned to his sword, trying to sort of apologize for his ways, and then his sword didn't respond to him. So there's a long journey ahead of him, and I really have high expectations for him, and I kind of want him to end up being stronger than Ichigo, without the sort of Broly style ending where he sort of loses his mind and ends up in the long run being weaker than Ichigo. And I know everyone's favorite character is Ichigo, and like that's what people want, the main character to be the hero and the strongest. But I feel like there's a lot of manga, well, not a lot, but a few mainstream ones where that doesn't happen, and I feel like I would prefer it if this guy did it. That's all I have to say, and as always, you can see this was a rare occurrence. My roommate is not in the room right now, though my voice sort of echoes around so everyone can hear it, so it's kind of embarrassing. So I'm just going to wrap it up here. I don't know if I'll have a chance again. I'm just kind of scared he'll come in any moment, but that's it for this week's discussion on Bleach. Stay tuned, and as always, like, favorite, comment, and subscribe.